Salutations, crustaceans! I am Lobster, and this is the long-anticipated Sterling by Music Man Bongo in the 4-string variant. And if you didn't notice, it is in a very cool firemist purple, something you don't often see in a Sterling by Music Man instrument, especially a bass. I am rather excited for this particular bass because I've been a big fan of the bongo for a while. I had a US BFR bongo some years back. It was a good bass, but I didn't really like the 5-string neck profile. I found the G string too close to the edge of the board, and the ginormous headstock was kind of a liability. So for the Sterling by Music Man version, I got the 4-string variant. That way I can have the most enjoyment of the bass, because this is for me. Big thank you to Sterling by Music Man for sending me this bass for review. I really appreciate it, and I'm very excited to go through everything that we have here. Now, the bongo bass was first introduced around the year 2000. Designed by BMW, this bass was supposed to be the future of bass guitars, and honestly, I've been enamored with the design ever since it came out. I really love the futuristic vibe, especially like the 2000s futuristic vibe, where we had so much, hope of what the future would be. We saw it in our media, like, Minority Report and The Matrix and movies like that. And it's really cool that the bongo bass has survived all that time. This design is going on about 25 years now. And yeah, that's non-stop production that they've made the US model. And I know folks have always wanted a Sterling by Music Man bongo, something that's more affordable and more attainable, because there's no other way you can get this bongo design outside of a cheap AliExpress knockoff that looks something like this. Yeah, I'm good. The bongo features a mahogany body as opposed to the basswood body on the US version, and that is painted in a firemist purple, as I mentioned earlier. This is a matte purple that almost looks like something the Covenant would be rocking in Halo. I think that is a really nice finish, and it kind of makes it look like an eggplant, but a really neat eggplant, and I dig it for sure. And we have a regular Sterling by Music Man bridge, the same type of bridge that we see in the Ray 24 and Ray 34. This is basically a copy of what we see in the US Stingrays before they became the Stingray Specials. For electronics, we have two ceramic humbuckers. These are the same pickups that you get in the Music Man SUB. They're each wired in series, and you have quite high output with both pickups. And that is paired to the Sterling SUB 2-band preamp here. We have a bass control and a treble control. The bongo is known for its 4-band preamp, so with this bass we kind of get a very cut down version. Basically, again, a 2-band preamp versus the 4-band, and ceramic humbuckers wired in series versus the neodymium humbuckers that we see in the US model. And around back we can see we have the same style neck attachment that we do with the US bongo, as well as a 9-volt battery door here and a control cavity cover. This control cavity cover is not flush to the body. I believe it was the same deal with the US bongo. It's not something I really like. I wish it was recessed, that way it would sit flush, but it is what it is here. For the neck, we have a 24 fret, 34-inch scale roasted maple neck with a rosewood fingerboard that has a 12-inch radius. We have a 41mm nut width, and we have a truss rod adjustment wheel here at the base of the neck. And up at the headstock, we have a 3x1 tuner configuration and the unique bongo shape here. It says Sterling by Music Man Bongo on the color-matched headstock. Though the back of the neck is a transparent polyurethane satin finish, and that carries over to the back of the headstock, only the front of the headstock is painted. However, I think it looks very good. One thing that doesn't look very good, in my opinion, is the tuners. These clover tuners here, these elephant ear tuners, definitely feel out of place on the bongo design. The US bongo has more of a Y-shaped tuner, something that's a bit more modern, so seeing the elephant ears here on this futuristic design kind of looks out of place. Though you definitely have mod potential with this instrument, which I'm definitely going to talk about, and swapping out these tuners is definitely something that we might do. We can also see on the back of the headstock that this bass is made in Indonesia, which is pretty standard for Sterling by Music Man. So how much does our Sterling by Music Man bongo bass weigh? This particular example comes in at 9 pounds on the dot, and it's decently balanced. I think a set of lighter weight tuners and potentially some Y keys would benefit this bass a little bit in regards to balance, but overall it is not like totally unbalanced. We have, again, like a really long neck here, great access to the 24th fret, so the body isn't the biggest thing and it's kind of squished all the way over here, so balance-wise, it is solid for the whole design, but you can improve it. And how much does the Sterling by Music Man bongo cost? These basses come in at $6.99 for the 4-string and $7.99 for the 5-string. It doesn't come with a case, it's just the bass, but it is a pretty neat bass overall. And let's go ahead and listen to what our Sterling by Music Man bongo sounds like. Okay, well that went somewhere. But that was with both pickups engaged, the preamp centered, and our volume at max. Again, very high output bass, and you're probably going to have to adjust your equipment or whatever accordingly if you're using the stock electronics, as it is definitely a bit hotter than most other instruments. Oh, hi, BB. You're just blocking the camera. Hi, everyone. Hi. BB! What are you doing? Just... Okay, here's my chance. Now let's go over to our neck pickup here. These are both ceramic humbuckers wired in series. Each of them is wired in series. Here's what the neck pickup sounds like with the EQ centered. And as I mentioned, we have a 2-band preamp here. This is the same preamp that we see in the Sterling by Music Man Ray 4 SUB, as well as the Ray 24 Stingray Classic, whatever they want to call it now. Let's go ahead and turn our bass control down all the way to hear what that sounds like, keeping our treble centered on our neck pickup. So as you can hear, the bass control isn't really stripping the bass of its output too much. It's reeling it in a little bit, but you still have a decent amount of low end, even with the bass control all the way down. And now let's boost it 50%. Here's the difference. Yeah, and I have a compressor engaged and all that other jazz, so this is a hot instrument for sure. You're probably going to find yourself cutting things more than boosting things. Let's bring our bass control back to center, and let's move our blend control over to the bridge pickup here. So EQ centered, bridge pickup. So that is our bridge pickup with our EQ centered. Let's go ahead and just turn the bass all the way down. Here's what that sounds like. Bridge pickup. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Let's turn our EQ back to center. I really don't want to explore it too much. It's not that great of an EQ, especially paired with these pickups. I feel like these are little placeholders for some actual good electronics, which we are going to install, don't you worry. Where did I put my pick? I had a pick. Now let's center our blend control, center our EQ, and let's play with the pick a little bit. Here's what this sounds like. You get a really nice pick tone out of this bass. It doesn't really sound like a Stingray because of the pickup placement. Because we have such a long neck here, everything is kind of pushed more towards the bridge, so you get a different type of tone profile, and it sounds really nice on this bass. However, again, we're probably going to upgrade the electronics to something a bit more worth it. But here's what this bass sounds like slapped. And now we are approaching the segment where we jam out with our little backing track. So let's get to it. here are my final thoughts on the Sterling by Music Man Bongo. This is a welcome addition to the Sterling by Music Man lineup, and I'm a big fan of the bongo bass, and I am very happy with this particular instrument. I feel like the electronics are a bit of like placeholder electronics. They don't sound bad, but I feel like this bass has a lot of potential when it comes to modability. We can throw in some really cool pickups in here, a cool preamp that has a bit more flexibility versus the Sterling SUB 2-band preamp here. And then in regards to the tuners, they work fine, but I think Y keys would be more appropriate on this bass, and we are going to be swapping these out with a set of cool Gotos in the near future. But we have a whole mod project planned for this instrument. I'm very excited to do that. But out of the box, for $6.99, I think that this is a decent value. You're not really paying for the whole package. You're paying more for the styling. You're paying more for the materials. This feels very high quality. The fretwork is nice. You have a rosewood fingerboard, roasted maple neck. This one has a little bit of a flame to it. And yeah, overall the package that you get here is decent. It's nice. The electronics, again, are its weak point, and I think that can be remedied pretty easily with some fun new pickups and a new preamp, which we will be doing down the line. But overall, yeah, bongo bass, very solid if you like bongos. If you don't like bongos, don't buy one. Very cool instruments, though. I love the styling. It's love it or hate it. I think they did a good job with the color choices. You have flat black or you have this purple. I think this purple is gorgeous. I think it's a beautiful instrument. And I'm excited to mod it and play it some more. Let me know what you think about the Sterling by Music Man Bongo down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and as always, until we groove again,